Hi there folks, my name is Patrick Hogg. I've a couple of degrees, but for 20 odd years I've studied nutrition and the science of that and looked into immunity in considerable detail. And I've looked at lots of the recent scientific papers, and I want to bring you some new information that's came to light in the last few weeks, basically to empower you to be able to do things for yourself to boost your immunity, to make sure if you were to catch the virus that's going around, that hopefully it would have minimum symptoms with you and your immune system would actually get rid of the virus. So let's go. Here's another paper called The Antiviral Properties of Vitamin C, and that was published last year, received 14th September, printed 16th of December 2019. Antiviral Properties of Vitamin C. Now, we all tend to have assumptions about vitamin C. Some people think it helps a bit with a cold. Some are not aware of the real power of vitamin C, so that's what I want to put across. Here's another one, the effectiveness of vitamin C in preventing and relieving the symptoms of virus-induced respiratory infections. So here's another paper. I'm just going to throw out one or two of these. The bottom bit there says, conclusions, vitamin C in megadoses administered before or after the appearance of cold and flu symptoms relieved and prevented the symptoms in the test population compared with the control group. Results overall, reported flu and cold symptoms in the tested group decreased 85% compared with the control group after the administration of megadose vitamin C. So what we basically know is that the majority of people will not be adversely affected by the virus because their healthy immune system will, if they contract it, deal with it, and they will have few symptoms, if any. Those with a compromised immune system, however, are the ones at risk, not the majority. If you go and look on the British Medical Journal, you'll see there are letters pouring in from various doctors and experts saying everyone should be advised as an emergency to take vitamin D3 now. If immune function is low, or even worse if it's impaired, the infection can spread. Where the immune modulation is imbalanced, i.e. out of homeostasis, the virus can lead to respiratory inflammation, which then provokes a cytokine storm. I'll explain this later. This is an overreaction by our immune system and can lead to a breakdown of what's called the lung barrier, which then can cause pneumonia, or if it gets worse, it causes ARDS, so acute respiratory distress syndrome, and possibly sepsis, and that's where organs just literally go out of control. So if we boost our immune system, it makes sense. So what I'm trying to do here is to pass on an understanding of the immune system that we have guards, and these guards are vitamin D3, vitamin C and vitamin A plus melatonin. They're all essential to the balance, to the homeostasis and modulation of our immune system. Each of these plays a unique role in protecting you from viruses and other pathogens, but they work as one system. Immune function works well if you have a good healthy diet, which then creates a healthy gut microbiome, and a healthy gut microbiome orchestrates what's called gene expression via epigenetics to express and switch on or off genes, i.e. vitamin D3, for example, controls around 2,000 genes. So you can see immediately, if you think clearly about this, if your vitamin D3 level is very low, you cannot control those few thousand genes. So the different metabolic processes that need to occur for your immune system to be tuned up are going to fail if you are very low in vitamin D3. And the truth is that most of us are generally quite low in vitamin D during the winter. It's generally obtained from the sun, but more of that later. There are other reasons why your immune system might be debilitated, and that is large consumption of sugar. Sugar debilitates our immune system by propagating candida, which creates toxins. So in some ways our immune system being being lowered is quite often a reflection of the toxin load in our body. Glyphosate is another toxin which can debilitate the immune function and destroy microbiome flora. So check all the foods which contain this toxic substance and try to go gluten-free to reduce sugar, reduce glyphosate. The government advice on vitamin RDA is sadly unscientific, and it is in the Stone Age. If we look at vitamin C, it's 40 milligrams in the UK. This is a recipe for immune disaster. Dr. Andrew Webber, critical care specialist affiliated with 2 Northwell Health facilities in Long Island, New York, said his intensive care patients with COVID-19 immediately receive 1,500 milligrams of intravenous vitamin C. They then continue on the same dosage multiple times per day. So we're seeing here that the application by an expert in critical care is immediately when someone is in distress and they are suffering from COVID-19 quite badly. What we're seeing in New York is that one of the specialists is hitting this virus quickly with reasonable high doses of intravenous vitamin C. So the veracity of vitamin C in high doses is well known in the medical literature. So for people to be fact-checked and shut down because they're mentioning vitamin C can help in this is an outrage in terms of what the truth is. Here's an example where DSM, they manufacture vitamin C, and you can see how quickly China reacted with vitamin C. 50 tons of vitamin C were shipped to Wuhan in China. Looks like I've misspelled that. And the government were recommending 2 grams per day for life thereafter. So where's the 50 tons of vitamin C being shipped to Glasgow or Edinburgh or to London or even New York for that matter, given the spread of the disease? Again, vitamin A, palmitate, so you can get the retinolic acid, a different type, but vitamin A palmitate is much more bioavailable, and it is critical for white blood cells, and we'll see just in a minute. So 60% of white blood cells are neutrophils. There are billions of them made every day, and billions of them die every day, so they're being recycled all the time. White blood cells, the leukocytes, are part of our immunity as well. When the white blood cell count falls dramatically with a virus, it needs replenished quickly. And when our white blood cell count falls below 3,500 millilitres in blood, that is a diagnosis for what's called leukopenia. And what we see with COVID-19 is effectively leukopenia. Because if you look at the symptoms, headache, sore throat, sneezing, diarrhea, cramps and fever. These are all symptoms of COVID-19. So when you see these symptoms or you're experiencing this, your immune system is taking a hit, and it means you need to take several different substances that will help build your immune system quickly. And what happens with the white blood cells is they tend to be created within our bones. So this process can be speeded up if we take lots of vitamin A palmitate. See Dr. Shiva on this. He was recommending huge amounts if someone is ill with this virus. Very huge amounts for 2 days to immediately boost the neutrophils and leukocytes and replenish the white blood count. So it means it's dropped. Once these symptoms appear, your white blood cell count has dramatically fallen. Vitamin C, we've seen some of the peer-reviewed papers earlier saying vitamin C is antiviral. But just in case you didn't see the last video or haven't tuned into a few similar ones, there are different types of vitamin C. Ascorbic acid, I would suggest 2 grams per day. I think the government advice is that anything above 1 is not good for you. There's no reasons why. but it's nonsense. It's out of date, it's unscientific. Ascorbic acid, 2 grams per day, much more if you catch the virus. You can take probably 1 gram every hour to help replenish and keep your immune fight going, because it's fuel to it. So second type of vitamin C is sodium ascorbate. That's much more alkaline than ascorbic acid. Then there's another type called liposomal vitamin C, much more bioavailable, which means it gets round the water-soluble issue with the small liposomes. So each particle of vitamin C is surrounded by the small liposomes, and it goes through the GI tract much easier. But liposomal vitamin C, you cannot buy it just now. It's went off the shelves like hotcakes. And then there's intravenous vitamin C, IV vitamin C. That's infusion into the veins via drip. Now we know that this is being used in China, and I think for the moderate patients it was 10 grams per day, and for the more severe it was 15 grams per day. Vitamin C has got at least, I think it's about 19 different mechanisms of action, which is the term that science uses, within the immune function. One of them is it produces interferon, it reduces viral infection, interferon stimulates antibodies and increases cytokines. There's always knock-ons like different metabolic processes. Vitamin C, if sufficient, will activate T helper cells by the thousands, and it will bring pathogens to the killer cells, and the natural killer cells act as a tag team in killing viruses. Vitamin C helps to inhibit viral replication. The white blood cells have 80 times the vitamin C payload in cytoplasm. That tells you everything about how important it is as the fuel of our immune system. So it's a powerful antiviral and antioxidant. Antioxidant role we'll come on to later. Vitamin C breaks down to hydrogen peroxide to kill pathogens and some cancer. Here again we've just got other examples of vitamin C and the different transporter routes going through to different organs, etc. So we can look at the role of ascorbic acid in the vascular endothelium and how it goes to the organs, and you can see liver, muscle, brain, and pituitary gland and the adrenal gland on the right. And I've put a comment at the bottom there that the rapid decline of vitamin C and the white blood cell count can lead to ARDS and then possibly sepsis. Now, Dr. Thomas Levy would say that the internal organ failure is probably symptomatic of the starvation of vitamin C and therefore an organ form of scurvy. And what you see is the vitamin C would flood in from the drip and it would travel through to the alveolar space. So what we're saying here is of critical importance, that the lung barrier, where if it breaks down we would end up with other ARDS, pneumonia, etc., the lung barrier is protected by vitamin C. So the next time anyone tells you vitamin C, oh it does nothing, wake up. Tell them to open their eyes to the science and go and have a look at this, because it's time that people realised the potent and the efficacious use in medicine to heal people, particularly with viruses. This is from Doris Lowe's recent article, where she's showing that ascorbic acid can be used for ARDS prevention. So this is one of the reasons why I'm putting this presentation together, to get some of the science out there in order that you can increase your amount of vitamin C, increase your D3, increase your vitamin A, so that if you were ever to catch this, it doesn't get to the serious stage. So here we have the steps by which ascorbic acid has different mechanisms as it turns to, and what she basically shows is that the cell-free heme, that the basic parts within the hemoglobin get taken out and destroyed by the virus, but vitamin C helps to protect this. So ascorbic acid increases barrier integrity and prevents damage by the cell-free heme. This is of critical importance, and you can see the reference further down there, I think it's two different papers, 2018 and then 2017. So these are science papers showing you the importance of the role of vitamin C at cellular level and how protective it is. This is from Dr. Shiva's presentation here. We're going to move on to just showing you a bit of science about vitamin D. And this is an overall presentation, overall screen, saying vitamin D is extremely well researched. 80,000 plus papers in PubMed. There's over 1,000 systematic reviews. Systematic reviews on, there's 9 at least, on acute respiratory infections. Some of these are very recent. One of the most recent ones, 2017, which there was 24 institutions, 12 countries working together, 11,000 participants, and the conclusions were vitamin D supplementation is safe. It protected against acute respiratory tract infection. And there were huge amounts of survival in ICU patients, but it's always based on how quickly you get, because vitamins D and C should be seen as medicines, given the modern science shows how effective they are. The limitations, the notion that we should only have 400 IUs and we shouldn't be taking 4,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 a day during a pandemic is absolutely nonsense. We need our immune system levels of vitamin D3 to be high. So the recommendation for most people is 5,000 or just now 10 or more. I know some recommending 50,000. So, but I wouldn't be taking 50,000 every day. I would keep it at 10 or so. So there needs to be a debate and discussion about the role of these vitamins, because they would be critical come the start of the winter, because they could reduce infection considerably. Vitamin D3 is what you would call a seco-steroidal hormone. It's known as the sunshine vitamin. Deficiency is general in the population, and it makes us prone to respiratory illnesses. You can get a blood test, a hydroxy-25 blood serum test. We need at least, as I've said, a few thousand IUs per day in the winter. The 400 IU official RDA is farcical. It's ridiculous. And it's going to make taking no more than that, because you can't get it enough from your diet, taking no more than that is making the population prone to viruses. You can get it in spray or capsule form. But quite often, if you're taking vitamin D3, vitamin K2 is required to transport calcium into your bones. I'm saying that because quite often you can buy vitamin D3 with calcium, and the calcium doesn't automatically go to your bones. Too much calcium can cause hypertension, i.e. increase your blood pressure, because the calcium stays in your blood. So be wary of that one. If you're taking a lot of D3, get some vitamin K2. You can buy that in a spray as well. All of the white blood cells have a vitamin D3 receptor. Ask yourself why. Because they use vitamin D3 is the obvious answer, isn't it? So, we'll just move on here. Here are just a couple of examples. The one on the right showing the vitamin D relationship between the dendritic cells and macrophages, T cells and B cells, and the one on the right just basically illustrating vitamin D receptors. There are thousands of them all over the human body. Vitamin D3, one of the mechanisms of action is the vitamin D3 helps create antimicrobial peptides through the macrophages. What happens is that the macrophages secrete the antimicrobial peptides, and what is created then are cathelicidins, and they attack and kill the virus or pathogen. So if your vitamin D tank is deficient, your immune system response is going to be pretty weak. Your fight is going to be low. Your army is going to be without bullets. So a whole population where the vitamin D levels are low are prone to get viruses and get the worst effects of viruses. I hope this point is getting through. Sleep helps to create melatonin. Melatonin is anti-inflammatory. It releases inflammasomes. The anti-inflammatory property of melatonin, which is an immune modulator, this will stop a cytokine storm, particularly if your levels of D are high. I think I've misspelled storm there as well. It's got antioxidant effects, and it helps to repair RNA, DNA, etc. So you need to get as much sleep as possible, folks, to make sure your melatonin is reasonably high. So we usually get good levels of melatonin. It's created between midnight and 3 in the morning. Good sleep is essential. First point we made right at the start, stress lowers our immune function. It creates cortisol. That's released in the adrenal cortex. It increases blood pressure, stress, this is well known. It lowers bone density. It increases blood sugar levels. It puts us into what's known as fight or flight. That actually takes blood from the thinking part of the brain. It puts us into our arms and legs. This is an evolutionary thing that is, as Dr. Bruce Lipton would say, we think the tiger, the saber-toothed tiger, is about to get us. It lowers immune function. So we need to relax and not let this whole pandemic media hype get to us to the point where it collapses our immune system and it will then contribute to disease. The last thing we need now is a collapse in anyone's immune system when they catch this virus. Get out your walks, get into the sunshine, use the exercise per day, etc. for healthy things. If we get put in a total shutdown and told not to go outside, that would create more illness. Now, this is one started myself a couple of weeks ago because I heard a world-leading expert, Dr. Thomas Levy, when he was talking in London, saying people could use a very cheap thing to try and attack this virus, and it's an at-home treatment that can cure almost any virus. Nebulize with hydrogen peroxide. What is one of our immune system's ways of killing a virus? Vitamin C, when it breaks down, turning into hydrogen peroxide. So you're simply adding to what your immune function already does. But this was originally conceptualized in 1990 by Dr. Charles Farr, subsequently researched and prescribed by Dr. Frank Schallenberger, and the current protocol, which has been sent out to those on his mailing list, is from Dr. Thomas Levy, world leading expert. Now, as I mentioned earlier, hydrogen peroxide breaks down to water and oxygen. So let's take this, what might seem to be the scary stain, out of this immediately. And the suggestion from Dr. Levy is that you use 3% hydrogen peroxide for inhalation through the nebulizer. If 3% might seem to sting a little bit, lower it to 50-50. That's exactly what I did. Our immune system, via vitamin C, creates and kills pathogens via hydrogen peroxide. So why not assist the body? So it breaks down to water and oxygen, so it's safe. It should be only used by grown-ups for sure, because you don't want anyone who's a bit younger messing around with any form of chemicals at all. So if you were to get a nebulizer and use the hydrogen peroxide, put it in 50-50, so water, and then get it measured right. So what I've been doing is taking it twice a day for about 5 or 10 minutes as a preventative. So if a sore throat and cough were to start, you would use the nebulizer for 10 minutes, breathing in the thin mist, sort of vapour that comes out with the hydrogen peroxide. And this is if you've got symptoms, of course, then repeat every few hours until the symptoms go away. So this is assuming that symptoms similar to COVID-19 occur and they're not serious. So this is at the start of the infection only, or a infection, to stop it spreading. So flag up if you have serious symptoms, seek immediate medical advice. Now, I can't help having some comments at the end here to do with the politics of what's going on. RDAs must change in the UK. They create sickness. They're too low to prevent viral infection. If you imagined everyone in the UK in end of September, start of October, taking 2 grams of vitamin C daily, taking, depending on age, general adults 2000 IUs of vitamin D daily, older taking maybe 4 or 5, when our ability to metabolize and make it more available in the system is slightly more diminished. If all of these good things that we know from science to be true were applied, there would be less need for what we are doing now, because people's immune systems would be a lot stronger. The RDAs in the UK are so low, in my view, they create sickness. There is dumbing down and misinformation on the role of vitamins, and it must change because it is science-based. Government policies are out of date, they're unscientific, and they help to create illnesses. They keep our guards low. Our bullets, our army in the defence of our entire body, our immune system, they've taken the weaponry away. They've taken the bullets away. They've taken the frontline guards away. Winter policy for higher vitamin D3 levels said it's difficult to work out exactly, but I would say roughly 5,000 for healthy adults and minimum of 2,000 daily. I put out there that a simple home solution hydrogen peroxide nebulizer can be used as prevention to take the load off the NHS. Most people may rarely get a flu again because, as Dr. Levy has said, using hydrogen peroxide through a nebulizer, you're cutting the head off the snake. And the pharmaceutical companies appear to me to have wanted to create a generation where they manage sickness and make profit out of that, and they manage illness through the different pills and drugs that they sell us, where the best medicine, as Hippocrates would have said, the best medicine goes into your mouth through the food that you eat. Let food be thy medicine, and let vitamin C, vitamin D3, melatonin and vitamin A be the things you boost over the next few months, folks. And I wish you the very best indeed. And I hope everyone who catches this, it's not going to be that many, I hope everyone gets through. And please boost your immune system, and let's get through this and out of this lockdown as soon as we can. Thank you very much.